I am a huge beauty lover. I love learning new techniques in addition to discovering my next holy grail products. But if you have consumed any beauty content over the past year, then you've probably seen influencers across every single platform touting their must-haves and their obsessions over and over and over in our feeds. And with specific products, it just goes a little too far. So in this video, I want to reflect back on this year to what I think are the most overhyped influencer must-haves on social media. These are the ones that have me scratching my head, or quite frankly, that I'm just sick and tired of seeing in my feed. Let us reflect, let us discuss, and most importantly, let's leave these all behind in 2024. The first overhyped product that we can leave behind are the Patrick Ta Major Dimension Eye Illusion Eyeshadow Duos. Whew, that is a mouthful, but I think you know which ones I'm talking about because these caused quite a fuss on social media. People were losing their minds over what is essentially two eyeshadow toppers, two very chunky eyeshadow toppers. Because when I take a look at the swatches and when I played around with these at Sephora, all I get are very sheer, chunky glitter swatches with no opacity to it. And listen, if that's what you love, if glitter is your aesthetic, then go for it. But I am looking for something with a little bit more refinement, especially from more of like a prestige beauty brand. And people have told me, oh no, Sophia, like these are made of pearls and this material and that material. But I guess at the end of the day, I just don't care. I'm looking for something that isn't as dry and chunky. These look like they're going to highlight any little bit of texture or dryness on my lid. Maybe that's just me. Comment down below if you would agree. These sold out at Sephora within like the first day or two of the Sephora sale this year, and they have just been all over social media. And I know I'm gonna get flack for this in the comments, but I gotta be honest, these look very like juvenile and childish to me, from the textures to the packaging. Like it just feels kind of dinky and chintzy. When did we decide that this was gonna be the sellout product at Sephora? When did we decide that this was a must-have? Because these don't really look that different to me than any other glitter topper we've seen from other brands. In fact, I would rather go into my makeup drawer and pull out one of my Hourglass Scattered Light shadows. Those are much more finely milled, much more refined, much more sophisticated sparkle, but I still get the kind of wow factor that I'm seeing all over social media with these ones from Patrick Ta, or even the Victoria Beckham lid lusters. If I want something that's more of like a metallic sheen that isn't chunky, that actually shows up true to color on my lids. And you probably think that I'm also going to complain about the price of these, because these babies, these duos, are $42 each. $42 for two eyeshadows. But actually, in defense of Patrick Ta, I'm not going to complain about the price, because when you take a look at the price of the single shadows that are at Sephora, a lot of them are like $30. I think the Urban Decay are $24 for one. Even the Tarte ones are $30. So actually, these are priced pretty competitively with the rest of the things that you see at Sephora. I actually think this is a really interesting case study into like consumer perception. Why are we up in arms about $42 for two shadows, but we're not up in arms about $30 for one shadow? Comment down below and let me know what you think. So I'm defending Patrick Ta a little bit here in terms of the price. My main complaint is that I just don't understand why these are so overhyped based off the actual product, the formula, their lack of originality, and I guess the price is also a component in there. Oh, and by the way, if you happen to be enjoying this video, please don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. It really helps me out. And if you are new here, maybe consider subscribing to my channel. I upload new videos every single week, all about everyday beauty and accessible luxury, adding a little bit of luxe affordably to your everyday life. And if I happen to be unsuccessful in de-influencing you from these products, or maybe you just want to follow along in this video, I will have everything that I mentioned linked in the description box down below. The Milk Makeup Cooling Water Jelly Lip Tint Plus Cheek Blush Stain. I really think that more and more brands are designing products for instant social media appeal. I mean, look at this. It looks interesting. It looks weird. It looks intriguing. It looks fun. It looks like candy. You know, like those push pops that we used to eat as kids. Comment down below. You know which one I'm talking about. It's a jelly. It's cooling on your face when you apply it. It's so different. It's all a distraction from what this really is, which is a sheer cream blush. In my day, we had this stuff called Benetint, and it did the exact same thing. And you know, I think that having fun with makeup is awesome, but we don't need to pretend that this is something super new and groundbreaking. This is the kind of product that seems so cool, so different, so effortless on social media, but in real life, it's just a regular cheek tint. I was reading a lot of the reviews on Sephora, and a lot of customers complain that this is patchy, hard to blend, not super effortless. And sure, that's what cheek and lip tints usually are. You gotta work fast, they dry down really quickly, they're not super blendable. You're probably better off just using a regular cream blush. I also saw a lot of reviewers say that this just breaks and kind of crumbles apart. No, thank you. No, thank you. If I want this kind of look, I will stick to my Benetint, or I'll just be a bougie little bee here in my corner with my Chanel Water Fresh blushes. The Rhode Pocket Blushes. There, I said it. I am so tired of hearing about these cream blush sticks. And I'm not trying to yuck somebody's yum. I'm acknowledging the fact that these are nice. They're a nice cream blush for the face. But I don't think they would have been nearly this popular without the continuous hype of whatever Hailey Bieber puts on her face. There's so many great cream blushes on the market, so why are these so popular? Why are these all over social media? I think they are so overhyped. I acknowledge the fact that there's subtle differences between formulas, but these remind me of a lot of other cream blushes that I see at Sephora from LYS, Westman Atelier. There's the Phytosurgence ones, those are amazing. Charlotte Tilbury. Didn't Nude Sticks do this years ago? Those were so good. So many other cream blushes out there. And the packaging is just so silly to me. Why is it so chubby? Why is there so much extra plastic? They don't need to be that wide. I've also heard that they don't really work well for deeper skin tones. Comment down below if you've tried these and you have a deeper skin tone. I do think that they are working on that, but it's just something to call out. Either way, I'm tired of seeing these. I realize they're nice, but I just think they are incredibly overhyped. If you already have cream blush sticks in your collection that you love, you don't need to go run out and buy these ones from Rhode. The Givenchy Prism Libre setting powder. I am so over this powder. I am tired of hearing about it. And I'm not just talking about the reformulation. We will get to that in a second. I'm talking about the original powder, the OG. This powder has been around since like 2006. So why did we start hearing about it so much this past year? Usually it's because Gen Z discovers a product that's been around for a while and then acts like it is the greatest thing since fresh bread. Kind of like Clinique Black Honey or basically anything Charlotte Tilbury. But in this case, I feel like I saw a real momentum for this powder in 2024, also on YouTube with the more millennial and Gen X crowd like myself. I bought one of these. I still have it right here, original formula, the mini size. And no, it's not for sale. And first off, this is so messy to use. The powder gets everywhere, and I know I'm rather clumsy, but I feel like no matter what I do, I always make a mess. There's nothing about the packaging that prevents the mess making. And when I use it, I do appreciate the light reflectivity, but I don't think it's any different than some of my other powders, than my RMS powder, for example. I much rather use my Hourglass finishing powders because at least there's no mess, and I have way more control over how much product I'm using. And then they reformulated these because they wanted to make them talc free. And I think by now we all know that they have completely ruined the formula. Like, they really messed up on this one. And I mean, it didn't really affect me, but it did annoy me because it leaves me wondering, how did they screw up this bad? Because other companies, like the ones I've mentioned, have talc-free powders, and they're great. So how is it that a huge brand like Givenchy can't get this right? It feels like such a money grab as opposed to a real consideration for what the consumer enjoyed about the OG product. This powder was all over social media when it was good, and then it was all over social media when it was bad. So needless to say, I'm just so done with all aspects of this product, and I'm ready to leave it behind. The Charlotte Tilbury fragrances. I don't know who hyped these up more, the influencers or Charlotte Tilbury herself. Fragrance is actually one of the fastest growing categories of 2024, which is why you see a lot of brands who normally do more skincare or more makeup coming out with perfumes. So our girl Charlotte launched a collection of 7 fragrances earlier this year, and she promoted these like they were Love Potion number 9. You were gonna spray spray this on and magic was going to unfold. Hello, darlings. More sex, more love, more joy, cosmic power. These were marketed as mood-boosting fragrances because regular fragrances are not mood-boosting at all. Scents never boost my mood. And if you follow me here on my channel, then you already know that I did a whole video reviewing this line and sharing my thoughts, which I can link down below if you want a good laugh, because what it comes down to is that these are so stinky. They smell so bad. At least I think so. I don't think there's a single one in the line that warrants the $150 price tag, and apparently a lot of other people think so too. The reviews on Sephora are comical. Again, check out that review video where I roast each of them and read out the reviews from Sephora. It's pretty funny if I do say so myself. And despite the horrible, non-sponsored, non-gifted reviews on Sephora, we still saw so many influencers promoting these, and I understand everybody has their own preferences and their own tastes when it comes to fragrance. It's a very personal thing, but it does leave me to question the intentions of a lot of these influencers across social media when I take a look at the reviews of average people and I just ain't seeing the same opinion. Also, the packaging comes across as weird and tacky to me. She's going for kind of like a witchy potion kind of vibe, and like I would prefer something a little bit more classic and mature, as boring as that sounds. I think if you're gonna go kitschy, at least do something like what Rabanne does with their Fame line of fragrances. At least those are cute. I'm sorry, Charlotte, I have a lot of your products and generally I like your brand, but let's just start fresh and forget that this line of fragrances even happened. I'm probably gonna get a lot of flack for this one, but the Sol de Janeiro Cheriosa 59 perfume mist, or better yet, pretty much all of the Sol de Janeiro perfume mists are overhyped in my opinion. And I'll start off by saying that if you like a scent and that is your signature scent, stick with what you like. I'm not judging you here. But to me, these don't really feel or smell like real perfumes. They're more like the equivalent to what we had when I was young, which were the Victoria's Secret body splashes, or like the Bath & Body Works Sweet Pea or Cucumber Melon. Comment down below, by the way, were you a Sweet Pea? Were you a Cucumber Melon? Were you a Love Spell? I was a Heavenly and probably a Cucumber Melon. If you know, you know. Comment down below. But back to the perfume mists. Every time a new scent comes out from Sol de Janeiro, it is just everywhere. Every time I open up my TikTok or my Instagram, somebody is talking or raving about the new scent. It's always on the front page of the Sephora app whenever it launches. I get it, they're popular, but it just seems like they're so overhyped for what they are. I have two of these, and some of the more tropical ones are, you know, kind of nice to wear to the beach during the day in the summer. It's for like a nice, you know, light everyday scent, but none of these feel like a real substitute for a real fragrance. I would never consider any of these to be worthy of being my signature scent. All of them are very gourmand and or fruity, and maybe I'm just old and snobby, but they do smell a little bit juvenile to me. And then there is that one that's supposed to be the dupe for like the Baccarat fragrance. Was it Baccarat Rouge 40? That one is the worst one. It smells strange and metallic to me. Listen, I'm clearly in the minority here because these are so popular. They are not only promoted on social media, but they are bestsellers at Sephora. Maybe it is the price point, maybe it is the lightness of these fragrances, maybe it's the lack of seriousness, or maybe I'm just old. I just feel like these are so overhyped and they just feel like overpriced body splashes to me. I feel like if I'm just gonna go the fruity or gourmand route, I'm just gonna buy a designer fragrance and have it smell way more complex and last longer throughout the day. The Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpt Multi-Use Bronzing and Shaping Serum with Hyaluronic Acid. Whew, these names. We already talked about the Makeup by Mario Ethereal Moonlight Palette in my last video, 10 overhyped must-haves at Sephora. So if you wanna hear my thoughts on that, I can link that video down below. But today we're gonna talk about this Makeup by Mario product. Both Mario and Patrick Ta are excellent marketers. They are so good at getting the hype across social media. And this product launched amongst what seemed like an avalanche of liquid bronzers and blushes and highlighters. For whatever reason, 2004 was the year of liquid products, and this bronzer was all over my feed. And to give Mario some credit, I do like the packaging. I like that you have both the pump, but you also have the doe foot applicator right here. But I feel like this is overhyped for several reasons. Reason number one, these are very sheer. Like, it is even hard for this to show up on my skin tone, and I'm quite fair. If that is what you are looking for, great. I know that a lot of you like the sheerness of this product, but sometimes I just feel like I'm blending this into nothingness, and I do have to use quite a bit of product. Comment down below if you agree. Reason number two, this doesn't seem to offer much value to his existing product line. He already launched the Soft Sculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer, which does almost the same thing, at least in my opinion. It kind of seems like he's launching something just for the sake of hopping on a trend than to actually, once again, add incremental value to the products that he already has in his line. And reason number three, this product separates like crazy. I mean, look at this. It looks disgusting. It looks really gross. And I understand that the product is fine, and this is just the mica, you know, like separating from the rest of the product, and I just need to kind of, you know, mix it up. But I just don't think that this is acceptable for prestige makeup, and it further makes it seem like this was a rushed trend type of product instead of something that they actually put a lot of thought and product development into. I don't think it's a horrible product. I just don't think it is the best of the best, given that there were so many other liquid bronzers that launched this year. I'm genuinely curious to see if this ends up on any influencer best of 2024 list. I just feel like with all of those different components, it's not really something that stands out to me and lives up to the hype that I saw on social media. And while we are on the topic of liquid products, let's discuss the Armani Beauty Luminous Silk cheek tints. It's always interesting, as someone who mainly creates content for higher end luxury beauty, to see what really catches on with the mainstream. And I was surprised to see that these were so popular on social media. I believe it was the red shade, I'm blanking on the name, I bought it from Sephora, and I returned it. I didn't see anything special about these, and in fact, I thought they were a little dry. I thought they were a little matte for my taste, and if I'm going in with a liquid blush, I'm looking for something that provides more hydration. Otherwise, it's easy enough to just use a powder blush. You all know, I love luxury beauty, but I much rather use the Rare Beauty blushes over these, which are much more affordable from Sephora, or even like the YSL ones, I think are better than these. And people did get kind of confused and mad about the lavender shade, but the formula of the YSL, I think, is a lot more skin-like and easier to blend out. The Ilia Ethereal Baked Face Palette. There are a lot of multi-purpose face palettes that launched this year, and specifically around holiday. We had the NARS, we had the Chanel, I've talked about the Hourglass ones ad nauseum. I never thought that this would be the sellout palette. This one right here. This sold out pretty quickly and actually is still currently sold out at most retailers, at least in the lighter shades. Ilia is one of those brands whose popularity in general just kind of baffles me, because there's really nothing from this brand that stands out to me, including this very neutral, very simple face palette. And maybe it's because I have a lot of makeup, I've seen a lot of makeup, I'm not a makeup minimalist, but I'm generally curious why this is selling out while the NARS equivalent is now on sale for 30% off, because the price is almost the same. If this came out from another brand, do you think it would have hit the same? Because ABH has done something like this, Charlotte Tilbury has done plenty of these, Natasha Denona is kind of trying to do some similar things with her Hygen line as well. I will say, the formula looks very nice from what I've seen on social media, but the bronzer does look a little bit warm for my taste. Comment down below, why do you think this was such a sellout? Are you a fan of face palettes? Or do you feel like it kind of alienates customers because, you know, you need to have the perfect selection of shades for each skin tone? I would love to know your thoughts. Okay, so this last one is more of a category because it was truly hard to pick just one. It is the glossy lip treatments. The Summer Fridays, the Laneige, the Tower 28, the Rhode Peptide ones. Every single brand has come out with their own versions of these. And this kind of goes back to what I was saying in the beginning about categories of products that offer a lot of star power upon first application. You have an already beautiful influencer, usually young, and she rubs one of these across her lips and it just completely transforms her mouth. Her lips are plumped, they are juicy, they are succulent. And I mean, I know when I was younger, I had those Victoria's Secret Beauty Rush ones, you know, like the ones in the tube, or the Lancome Juicy tubes. Iconic. The shades were frostier, but the glazing, the same thing, that was there. Again, maybe it's because I'm a crotchety millennial, but this just feels like the same thing to me, except the formulas now are a little bit more oily as opposed to sticky. We've definitely come far from like a hydration standpoint, but it's basically all just lip gloss at the end of the day. Not to mention that the shades of these products all look very similar on the lips because they are so sheer. But best believe, okay, every time a new shade comes out, we need to know, is iced coffee better than hot cocoa? Like, which shade of super sheer nude brown do I need to get? And by the way, I was on the Sephora website and the Summer Fridays iced coffee one is described as a sheer cocoa, but then the hot cocoa one is described as a sheer warm chocolate. It's not that funny, but I was amused. Comment down below and let me know, what do you think is the most overhyped product of 2024? And if you like this video, I would love for you to give me a thumbs up, or better yet, go check out another video. Up next, we have the top 10 overrated Sephora must-haves and the best and worst products from Dior Beauty. I'll see you there.